This is about defending democracy. This is no longer Democrats versus Republicans. What do you want your kids to believe in? There must be give and take.
This is White Flag with Joe Walsh.
Hey, color me crazy, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to me right now are going to disagree with what I have to say, but I think the world needs to thank Israel for what Israel is doing right now. You know, forget this notion of what side are you on? Or forget this notion, all of us who are supporting Israel, that we need to kind of tell Israel what to do and how to fight this war and micromanage what they're doing and all of that stuff. And they got to be careful and maybe a pause and maybe a ceasefire. And you've got to kill Hamas terrorist Israel, but you got to be so careful that you don't kill one civilian, right? I've said this before, right? Israel is the only country in the world that has to defend itself for defending itself. Think about that. Israel is the only country in the world that has to defend itself for defending itself. But, you know, forget all of that. I actually think the free world should thank Israel for what Israel's doing. I think the whole world should thank Israel. But most especially the world that believes in freedom and tolerance, free minds, free markets, the world that believes in modernity. We should be thanking Israel because Israel is fighting our fight. Israel is on the front lines in this war against Islamist terror. Israel's on the front lines. They're fighting this war for us. America, they're fighting the war for us. Canada, France, Germany, anybody who considers themselves to be a modern, free country, Israel right now is fighting your fight. They are on the front lines, fighting against Islamist terror, which is, by the way, Islamist terror, the antithesis of freedom and tolerance and modernity. And you will note I didn't say Islam. I didn't say all Muslims. I specifically said Islamists. And if you want to educate yourself and learn something, learn the difference between Islam and Islamism. Learn the difference between being a moderate, peace-loving Muslim and an Islamist. But I won't get into that now. I'll just say Israel's on the front line fighting. They're fighting out, which, by the way, is why, first of all, we all should support Israel with aid and armament, whatever it takes to help Israel on the front lines. Israel, I will remind you all, has been living on the front lines, fighting the fight against Islamist terror from its very beginning. Israel, I will remind everybody listening to me right now who considers themselves to live in a free country, Israel is a tiny, tiny miracle of a strip of land of freedom and tolerance in a sea a sea of tyranny. Israel is surrounded by countries and peoples and terror organizations that are the antithesis of freedom and tolerance and modernity. Israel's neighbors are Islamist terrorists. They're on the front lines. And they're fighting against this thing, Islamist terrorism, that really the world needs to defeat. The free world needs to defeat. And really, when you think about it, this fight right now is not between Israel and Hamas, Israel and Gaza. This fight right now is a fight between freedom, tolerance, and the modern world on one side, and Islamist terror on the other. You see that? So, what side are you on? Israel's fighting your fight. Right next door, they're on the front lines, door to door, hand-to-hand combat, trying to defeat Islamist terror. So yeah, they're fighting our fight. Yeah, we should support Israel. Instead of criticizing Israel and telling them how to fight this fight, we owe them a big thank you. They're on the front lines. We need to thank them for fighting our fight. I'm Joe Walsh. Thank you for listening. Joe Walsh, whiteflag@gmail.com. That's one word, Joe Walsh, whiteflag@gmail.com. Hope you're having a good week. Kick some ass. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow White Flag with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been White Flag with Joe Walsh.